see here. Yeah, line number 35, KA4CZL, and I'm giving you a 5-5. So is it a 5-5 both ways?
5-5 both ways. Thanks for being there.
Okay, 73 miles across the miles. Break with you. Kilowatt America 4, Canada, Zambia,
doing anything important at all. As far as the snow goes, you can keep all that snow all to yourself. I don't want any of it over here.
Well, we try not to give it to you. I mean, most of our snow goes.
Go. November X-ray. Kilo 2194.
That's a beautiful day. And appreciate it.
All right, take care. Give me a call if you need anything, man. If you got any questions or queries, drop me a call or an email or something, okay?
That's a Roger. I sure will, man. All right, man. Good looking out, and enjoy the weekend, man.
Yeah, I got that phone call, man. Somebody called me and said, come pick up your rum cake, so it could be a trap. Ken, it could be a trap, but I'm getting into it, over.
Well, I tell you what, I've got family from the West Indies, and seems like every holiday they got a rum cake, man. It'd knock you on your butt there if you wasn't careful there, over.
Ken, I only can eat one rum cake. Actually, probably about 2 slices a year, over.
It's obvious you already know this.
It ain't no joke, man. Yeah, that will set you straight. Anyway, catch you later, fella. Be safe. Have fun. We talk to you later. KB9GKG, KC2MIB Mobile out. So gotta keep going. You in there now too. I guess, like I said, the band's opening down here in Virginia. Gotta keep going in the Mobile out there, KQ4BRG, Virginia. Sounding good around Virginia.
Roger, Doug. You're a little light tonight. You must be in that Mobile, but I still pulled you out there, man. Good evening to you, man. Have a great one there, over.
Contact. Yeah, Roger. There's a contact in there too. All right, I'm gonna sit back, man, and read on this mess. It seems like a lot of people starting to come up in my radio now. Go ahead, contact.
Contact. Kilo Delta 9, Sierra Victor Papa.
All right, man, I'm under some wires. I don't know if I lost you or you unkeyed, but good evening to you.
Hey, what's going on, James? Kind of good, man. Wow, great signal, man. You jumped up like Jack in the Box, man. What's going on down on your end?
Hey, everything's going on pretty good.
Good there, Roger.
Hey, Roger.
Ain't good, man. That's what's gonna make that thing talk. Make sure you go.
Yeah, I think you did.
Box Elder, South Dakota, longtime member number 16986. And Gary, is anything we can do for you tonight? Oh, okay, you're portable down in Texas, I understand.
Helps you hear me, and it works out. But when you're talking to the smaller stations that don't have the extra power, you're exactly right. An amplifier hurts you more than it helps you, because you end up having lots of people calling you because they're hearing you, and you can't hear them calling back. So it just depends on what kind of station it is that you're talking to, over.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So that's sort of you know, so then when I got the amplifier here, I didn't, it's not a huge amplifier. It's what, 4, 8, 11A, whatever that'll do. It's not being driven too hard right now. But, you know, anything more than that, I think in my particular case, because of the location, and I do have a little bit of noise, but it's not bad now. It's not bad. So things are, I don't know, things are picking up there. Anyway, so, yeah, but to go, you know, to have like another amplifier that puts out, you know, double this one, well, you know, it's not going to help me at all. It's not going to help me at all. Maybe get me in trouble with the neighbors. Who knows? Anyway, maybe I'll pass it back to Ronnie there and see how things go from there.
Hello, CQ40 at November, Quebec, 3 Fox. Hello, CQ, November, Quebec, 3 Fox. Hello, CQ40 at November, Quebec, 3 Foxtrot. Again.
Volts so divided by 130. It doesn't dissipate it. It converts. It converts, you know, 130 volts at 8.7 amps to 45 volts at 24 amps. So the input current to the modulator will only be 8.7 amps in your transmitter.
Oh, so it is the output. Well, then it's easier for me to do it on the output. The way I got stuff configured. It's still going to be tough to do it, but I can do it.
You know what you could do if you wanted to, though it's a bit of a you'd have to have a way to calibrate the meter. You could take the shunt off the back of the meter, and you could put the shunt in a convenient location where the output of the modulator is, and then you could run wires back to the meter because it's only milliamps. The meter is probably a 0 to 1 milliamp movement, and the shunt, you know, controls the current. But you know, then you'd have to have a way to calibrate it because you're adding wiring and blah 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 blah. So that'd be a lot of work. But that I do that on my own transmitter. I have the shunts located in a convenient place, and the meters are far away. But you know, it's only 0 to 1 milliamp at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can, because I didn't hook it up to the overload shut, so that's where it would go, where the overload shutdown is.
Approximately, yeah, it would go somewhere in that line. Yeah, you could just run a piece of number 10 wire. It doesn't have to be number 8. I noticed you had some number 8. I mean, all the cores and everything are wired up with number 10, so you can run number 10, you know, within the modulator cabinet itself, and you're not going to lose anything because you know, you've already got, you know, think of how many feet of number 10 wire all the power is already going through because of the cores. So you can run number 10 through the overload shutdown hole. You can run number 10 over to that meter. It'll be fine. If you're running any appreciable distance, then use your number 8 or whatever you got.
Yeah, well, it'll be exactly 11 inches over to the meter.
Yeah, that's negligible considering how many feet of number 10 wire have you already got in there because of the cores.
Right. Okay. All right.
Steve doesn't know what we're talking about.
Yes, I do. Wait a minute. The microphone was. I read all about those E-rig machines. All I really care about is the great construction that Bob does. I'm always in awe of something he finishes. But other than that, yeah, I know what you're talking about, modulators and all that good power supply modulators and RF decks and all that stuff. I can read. I read your stuff.
Oh, yeah, well, hang on. So Bob wound his, he used a filter that uses ferrites instead of air core coils. And he bought 50 feet of number 10 wire. So there's 50 feet of number 10 wire wound on those cores. So all the power, all the current that's coming out of the modulator is going through 50 feet of number 10 wire.
Well, 40. I didn't use all 50 feet, but I used a good 40 anyway, Steve. 40 feet. Huh, of number 10, huh? I gotta see the pictures of that. These are close space windings, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Bob will send you pictures.
Yeah, I'll send them to you right now, Steve. Yeah. I always got a kick out of link couple tuners with the 3/16 tubing or whatever the hell you guys are using.
Make sure you're not doubling. Yeah, this particular link couple tuner, I got an edge wound silver plated coil. The thing is massive. It's got to be a foot in diameter. The coil. It's about the same, maybe 14 inches long. Big coil. You know, the turns are spaced far apart. You know, like 3/8 of an inch apart. Edge wound silver plated copper. And so the coil was so big that I put the link inside. I've got 3/8 inch copper tubing link inside of the big coil, and I got it suspended in there. So that's how my link coupled tuner is accomplished. I actually put one coil inside of another.
Nothing wrong with that if you're going to use a coil the size of the one you're using. Yeah, those are neat. If I were doing it again, I wouldn't have a tri-bander up there and all kinds of crap on a tower. I would just have a wire, the wires like you guys got with the link coupled tuner and flat feed line, and do just as well. Although I was on 10 meters with my big beam yesterday talking to Hawaii. I never talked to Hawaii. I'm sure it's no big accomplishment, but it was kind of neat.
That is cool.
10 meters, middle of the day, to Hawaii. There was a contest going on. Yeah, I just sent you a bunch, Steve. Yeah, I'm looking at them now. Stand by.
So, Bob, your wire, make sure I'm not double. So you're 40 feet of wire. So number 10 wire has 0.9989. So let's say 1 ohm per 1,000 feet. Okay, so it's 1 ohm per 1,000 feet. So you have 1 over 1,000 equals x over 40. So if we cross multiply that, I have 40. So 40 over 1,000. 40 over 1,000 equals x. So let's see. 40 divided by 1,000 is 0.04 ohms times 24 amps. So you're going to lose 0.96 volts. I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Probably not. Let me see if I got it.
That's not very much. Go ahead, Steve.
Very, very nice work. You know, see, I wouldn't mind building one of these things, but the problem is that I have no imagination. If you gave me one that you built with the parts, I mean, I could put it together, but to wonder where I'm going to put this stuff, you know, I'd be all screwed up. I'd have to do it 4 times to get it in the right proportional place.
Well, that's me being a machinist mechanic or a mechanical machinist, that helps a lot, Steve.
Yeah, well, it looks extraordinary like they all do. Kind of neat, like I said. I mean, I can look at a schematic and say, well, that's not too bad. But then going to lay it out and be like, oh, shit, where do you put all this stuff?
Yeah, well, you
you got to think about it and you know, kind of plan it, and then you got to make a couple of little mishaps and stuff, but then you got to kind of figure out how to straighten things out. Now, do you use Greenlee punches at all for your holes, or I'm looking at a panel with a female receptacle for a 3-cord AC plug, and is that an oblong hole for that, or do you have a special punch, or how you make the hole? What, for the computer plug? Yeah. I have I made a template out of a thin piece of metal, and what I do is I draw it out in pencil, trace it onto the aluminum, and then I just drill holes near the near the line, and then you get a little space between each one of the holes, and you just take a file, and it's a lot of work because you got to file it all out. Yeah. I wonder if must have some kind of Dremel tool that might help with that. And then there's a metal nipper that can help. Do you ever see one of those or use one of those? Yeah, I have used one of those. Yeah. And I have a Dremel, but yeah, I just I go out in my shop out here and I just grab a file. I got some pretty coarse files. It doesn't take that long. It's just it's time, not really that time consuming, but it's kind of it's a pain in the butt, but I'm sure. Are you using anything as something you did before as a model, or is this a new layout? No, that's a new layout. I've never done anything like that before. Well, God bless you. Nice work. Like I said, I'd get dizzy. Okay, one more question. Any complaints about my audio before I shut this down? I'm trying to get it perfect. I would say it's pretty close to being perfect, yeah. QIX, any more comments now? There's not a huge crowd.
It sounds perfect. I like it.
All right, guys, thank you. I got to get out of here. Bob, I haven't called you yet about that filter, but I will. Sorry. And Steve, I'll be talking to you about your adventures, and I have to stay remote when I'm down there. I don't know if I'm ever going to be anywhere near where you are, but we could get together if I was. But it's kind of hard to tell my wife we got to give up a day of fun in the sun with her to go visit a ham buddy. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe she plays pickleball. You can bring her over and we'll play pickleball.
We used to play racquetball, but she had a neck injury lifting a patient years ago, and she can't do that stuff no more, and she'd be depressed to know that. If I said, hey, but we're going to go, but you can't play, it would be tough. You ever play racquetball? That's a fast one.
I never played any sport at all prior to pickleball because I was unable to see depth until just a few years ago. I had no idea what things looked like, because I had no depth perception due to my glasses being very thick. But Bausch & Lomb a few years ago, I think about 4 or 5 years ago now, maybe 6, came out with these contact lenses that I can wear, and they correct my vision to 2015, and I have depth perception. It is absolutely amazing. When I first put those on, it was like I'd never been able to see in my life. I said, I still remember everybody was like watching me. Is this how people see? Is this how everybody else sees? I'd never been able to see depth.
You ought to try racquetball. That is a quick one. That's kind of fun. All right, Bob, Steve, good talking to you guys. Have a good night. WA1STH, listening out.
Well, pickleball is pretty quick. We're going back and forth that fast. It's pretty quick.
Yeah, I'll have to get together with you sometime and try it before I get too old and lazy.
You'll get addicted to it. You'll fall in love with it. You really will. Everybody does.
I'm sure it's fun.
Anyway, we'll let you go, Steve. And I sent you some more. Did you see the front panel I just...
I'm looking at an email with 3 shots. Let's see, this one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm jealous. You know, I like to look at it, but when I look at it, I think to myself, boy, what a mess I could make out of that shit. Where's that other one? There it is. Yeah, I'm looking at the panels now. The layout, the color. Yeah, no, it's a thing of beauty. You know, none of the kids today are going to do this stuff. Huh. Make sure you should engrave your name in the metal somewhere. You know, for posterity. Beautiful work. Have a good night. WA1STH. Okay, Steve, thanks. Yeah, and you have a good one too. And well, catch you in there next time. WA1STH from K1KBW. No chaperones here now. Behave yourselves.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the place, Steve. N1XZW.
Okay, Charlie. Thank you.
Evening, Bob. Evening, Steve.
Yeah, I'll be back. I got to hit the can. W1QX.
The command center. K1KBW.
Charlie. Yeah, I got to hit the command center, Charlie. Be back. W1QX.
Said Charlie is in there. I don't know if you guys can hear him.
I know Steve can hear me. I don't know if Bob can hear me or not.
Could you hear him, Bob? He's kind of noisy into me.
Yeah, I got a lot of noise here. Everybody got their Christmas lights up, and they got these run-around things out there making a racket in here.
All right, Charlie, have a good night.
Thanks, Steve. You too. Yeah, actually, you're noisy into me, believe it or not, because of those side banders that are bleeding in with you.
Anyway, I'll be on the side here. Wait for Steve to come back. K1KBW.
It's amazing that you can't hear me, Bob.
I hear you now.
Yeah, I often wonder, you know. You can be 40 over here and tell me that I'm down below the noise. I often wonder about your receiver.
Yeah, well, I got a 9.5 noise level here, and you're right at a 9.5. But I copied you that time. But you're up and down like James Brown. It's not your fault. It's the band. You know, you're fading in and out. But when the band's in good shape, I hear you.
Yeah, I guess that's the difference. You're fading in and out too, from 40 down to an S9.
You say I'm an S9 to you?
Well, you're 40 most of the time. When you fade, you go down to an S9. But on this receiver, 0 is the noise floor. The noise floor is 0 on this
Okay, I got part of that, but you took a fade. The bands are kind of getting funny.
I think we doubled.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's not your fault. It's mine. I got a lot of noise in here, and the band's up and down.
Yeah, what I said was, you go back to...
The only bad thing about Christmas, everybody turns their lights on in the street here, and I can't hear too much.
0.
It's any noisier in here. I'm going to shut this thing down. I won't even be able to hear Steve.
It's going to be your neighborhood noise, because the band's not really that noisy.
Yuri.
I'm sorry, Alpha. What was that again? 7 Echo?
Oh, I am so piss weak.
Evening, Timmy.
Yeah, you, Timmy?
Yeah.
Alright, Sander, back to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Doggone Christmas lights. 9.5 noise here tonight. And it would be like this until after Christmas, I think.
Am I getting over it?
Yeah, you are, yeah. But the other guy wasn't.
Who, Charlie?
Yeah, I can only hear him once in a while.
Yeah, he needs to do something about his antenna, man. He was... Damn it. Really this week. Now I'm rebuilding my handheld TR switch. Actually, I did a good job with the thing and looking for my tube of goop so I can make sure things are properly buttoned up. It's a wonder I'm not getting a belt off the control going down to the relay, maybe 24 volts, but you know, the inductive kick, but I put a diode across the relay coil, so that snubs it. But I just been working and just monitoring in the background.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've been working too. I got the cores all done on the modulator, and so yeah, that was tough bending that stuff around there, man. And then getting them set in not much room, but I got them in there. And anyway, I gotta hook up the meters. I forgot to hook up the amp meter, so now I gotta cut into the line and put the amp meter in line so I can read the amperage.
Yeah, well, that's an important thing. Yeah, I hate it when I've been listening in. Well, I hate it when you have something that's coming together and it looks real good and it's like, damn, I forgot to do an important step. And then you gotta pull it apart to make it right. Always seems to happen with a really big project or something that you're trucking along and it's coming together and then, whoops, forgot an important detail.
Yeah, that's what I did. I forgot all about the amp meter, but no big deal. I just cut into the line. I use number 8, but Steve said, you can run number 10 in there. So I got some nice number 8 cable that I run through these nice, what do you call those, grommets and everything. I fitted the grommets in there, and so now I have to change it, but, oh well. Yeah, such is the way things go. You know, because Steve designed a transmitter, but you have to design the layout, because there is no design for the layout. You know, just a schematic for the electronic components, but the layout you got to design yourself, so. You know, I make some flubs here and there, but nothing major, so no big deal. And that was the second mistake I made. The first one was I got 3 meters in the front. I got the 0 to 1 milliamp. That's for the overload shutdown, and I got the overall amperage, and then the voltage. I got a 0 to 150 volts because I use 130, 135 volts. So anyway, I put the 0 to 1 milliamp meter in first, and then after I did that, I said, oh shoot, I got to put 2 more meters in here. I don't think I got any room, because I put these LED lights in there, 3 of them, and they're up kind of high, and the meters, the second 2 meters are going to be up higher than the first one, and so let me see if I can fudge them in there. So I get in there, and I think I can make it. And I drilled them a little bit too high. I had to get my hole movers and move the holes. And don't ask me how I do that, but I do. And so I got all 3 meters lined up, and they come out all right.
Yeah, it's always good when a plan comes together. I often thought of building a Class E transmitter, but a lot of it will be my own design as far as the layout, how I'm going to go about it, and the experimentation I want to do. I've got a few ideas I'd like to try out, but you know, I got so much going on in my life right now that oh God. Man, I am tired. I didn't get enough sleep working on non-ham radio projects, actually something for the radio station, basically, you know, with basically a couple of audio transformers. It's used for isolation from my studio to the line going up the hill for the transmitter and the audio processing gear. And then when I'm not using the studio for that purpose, the computer goes into left and right summing of the audio goes into a vacuum tube audio amplifier I cobbled up from an existing piece of gear. I don't want anything solid state going up through 700 or 600 feet of cable, because, you know, if there's a thunderstorm and a lightning-induced pulse, the last thing you want it to do is come down the line and get into the computer, because that would be certain death. So you gotta have a sacrificial lamb along the way, and things are pretty bulletproof in that regard. But you know, now I got a box with a VU meter on it that's backlit and pilot lights made up out of something that I acquired that would be useless as tits on a bulb. But I don't know where I get this stuff. Winds up coming my way whether I want it or not. So you go out and you rummage around, you have several ideas. Well, I'm going to look around for the metal housing to put this whole mess in, and what I came up with was just too flimsy. But what I came up with after looking is like, wow, this will be a complete repurposing of this other item. In fact, I'm going to take some photos of it. Because Bear is always, "How'd you get my email?" And I only get into my email like maybe once a week, maybe a little bit more often than that if I'm expecting something. I just don't have the freaking time to sit on my ass and go through things, and I'm a horrible typist. It takes me forever.
Yeah, me too. And, you know, doing a Class E rig, it's always your design, because there is no specific design for it. So it's, when you build one, it's always your design.
Yeah. Well, I understand what's going on, and things like lead length and symmetry and all that, and design and layout. I want to try a few things of my own to see how well I can make it work.
Yeah, nothing wrong with experimenting, you know. But I just use Steve's design, and then, you know, I have to come up with my own layout, because everybody's layout is different. Because, you know, it's not like a Heath kit, you know, where everything's got to go.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, well, that's the fun part. Yeah, I'll look at Steve's design, and I'm sure there's a lot of it I'm going to borrow. The power supply is going to be done differently and whatnot. And yeah, I'll go the route you did with the ferrites with the pulse width modulator. And what I got to do is take what I have for power supply components, throw together a supply, and load test it, and then depending on how well it handles a given load will determine how many devices I'm going to use in the RF end of it.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the pulse width, what if you, well, the modulator, let's say you build the modulator for the rig. If you do a 24 fetter, that's what you got to run. You can't change the number of FETs on the modulator because the modulator's designed around the 24 FETs, and the 24 FETs is designed around the modulator.
Yeah, well, the thing about the modulator is with pulse width modulation, the modulator has to look into a given impedance for it to function correctly, so that determines the amount of devices. So the first thing to do is get the power supply together, put a load on it, and then figure out which format I'm going to do. It may be 20 FETs, it may be 24 FETs, it might be 18, it might be 16, who knows, But, well, then again, it depends on how heavily you load it. And the power supply will be done my way. It'll be a lot different than what a lot of other people do.
Yeah. Well, the power supply actually on the E-rig is very just like simple stupid, because it's just you don't need any regulation or anything. So it's very, all you need is a transformer, your caps, and a rectifier. That's it.
I know that's too simplistic, and I'm making do with stuff I got. I've got an isolation transformer that came out of an RCA 1 kilowatt AM broadcast transmitter. It's essentially 240 volt, but with a number of taps going down to like 208 and whatnot. And the secondary is 230 volt center tapped. So, and I've got a very healthy filter reactor, so I'm going to go choke input filters, so the output voltage of the supply will probably be more like around 90 volts rather than 130, which is fine, It won't make quite as much power, but it'll be super reliable, and the advantages of the choke input filter is the turn-on surge is greatly reduced, and the transformer's KVA is improved. As a cap input, a transformer has to be derated, so you need a much larger transformer in order to shoulder the load correctly. So, it's just all these design considerations, and considering what I have for parts. I have all the stuff. I even have the big electrolytics. All I got to do is build it.
Hey, Tim?
Yeah?
Yeah, well, that's a lot.
Yeah. Keep in mind with the power supply that the power supply only has to put out, well, it depends on what your modulator ratio is. In other words, a carrier to voltage. So if you have a 3-to-1 ratio, which is typical for the Class E rigs, 135 volts power, and you're running 45 volts, so that's 3-to-1. the power supply only has to produce slightly over 1/3 of the current that the RF amplifier is going to pull. So if you have an RF amp that just for round numbers is pulling 20 amps or 24 amps, say, the power supply, the RF amplifier is pulling 24 amps. The power supply only has to put out about 8.5 amps because it's 95% efficiency. You lose 5%. So the power supply, the one thing about the Class C rig power supplies, they're modest requirements because the current is so low as compared to the power. It's kind of nice.
Oh, I know. So what I got to do is just JS it together and see how it behaves, as far as the power supply. But with the components I have, it's like the filter reactor is wound with number 10 wire, So the DC resistance is very, very low. And the transformer itself is pretty healthy, so I would think it would probably deliver 10 to 15 amperes continuously. So I would take that figure and say, okay, let us say I get 90 volts out of it. I'll probably just set the PA devices up for, say, 32 volts or something like that, maintain the ratio, and so what if it's a dB or 2 down from what it could do?
Yeah, but I'm only running 30 for this rig right now. I'm talking on right now. I'm running 35 volts. It could run 45.
For carrier,
I'm running it conservatively. I've been running it this way
Steve, wouldn't it just suffer a little bit
for a really long time, like for years.
That was a perfect double.
Anyway, at 90 volts, if you still had 45 volts going in there, you'd still be able to have your power up. But the 90 volts, because that's lower, wouldn't that hurt just the positive peaks?
Yeah, it would. Like I said,
I wouldn't. I'm not so much concerned of getting absolute maximum power out of things. I'm concerned with. Bottom line, when I build something now, is reliability. I don't want to have to fix it if it breaks.
Well, running 35 volts on a transmitter here that could run 45. So I'm running 35 volts at carrier. So this rig is mega reliable. And I ran that. I started doing that a few years ago, and I've just stayed with it. I don't need the extra power. Really, I don't. 35 volts is fine. 35 volts at approximately 12 amps is what I'm running here. So it's fine. And it's very conservative, and I never have trouble with it. If the antenna is really bad or something, the transmitter's, very tolerant. So that's not a bad strategy. If you want to make something that's really reliable, 35 volts is a good voltage. It's everything is just running cool as a cucumber.
I take it that's your lower power transmitter that you're using.
No, I'm not. I'm using the bigger transmitter. I'm just running it at I've been running it at reduced power since I moved here, because I run remote control so much. I'm not there right in front of the transmitter, so I said, I'm going to back it down from 45 volts to 35 volts, and that's what I've been doing. It's fine.
Hey, Tim's E-rigs hardly ever break anyway.
dB less power? Who's going to see that?
Double with you, Tim. I said E-rigs almost never break anyway.
Everything breaks. See those ads on TV? Everything breaks.
Yeah, E-rigs are they're almost bulletproof.
Also, relays fail occasionally. It's like anything else. every once in a while something will go.
Yep. Yep, that's true. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. But anyway, I don't know when the dust will settle. It's getting thicker and deeper with all the projects I got going on right now. Anyway, I just got in here to exercise the push to talk switch. It looks like it's what I done to this thing and patching up and just reusing this crusty piece of cable. So now I got to apply the goop and let it set up, and then I'm going to fix myself a little bit of supper.
I use a light switch, Timmy. Works great.
Looks like I doubled.
I said I use a light switch. They work great.
Well, that too, but I like holding on to this thing, micro switch and very fast on the draw for break-in.
Yeah, but I like to key it, and then I don't have to, I'm Italian, so I'll use my hands when I'm talking, so I don't have to hold on to the switch.
Well, past years I used a foot switch before the fire. Stomp the talk. Very effective. And when I lived in Porkrot, I had an old light switch mounted on, its usual electrical box that came out of a home somewhere, and I had that thing sitting on the table, and I'd flip the switch, and up she'd go.
Yeah, I used a foot switch for a while, but I got tired of it after a while. Got to keep stepping on it, and then sometimes I'd catch the corner of it, and it would I'd hit it, and it would key, and it would slip out from underneath my foot and would unkey, and I'd get all pissed.
Well, that would happen too from time to time. I got a foot switch. I found one, but it's crapped out, and I got to take the thing apart and figure it out. But it's got a very heavy base on it, so it's not going to be flying out from under my foot.
Use the ones that you get, like the one I had. So they use them on keyboards for a foot pedal.
Yep. Anyway, I'm going to jump back out of here because I want to put the goop to this thing and goop her up, do ya? And I'll catch you guys a little later on. Yep, goop the thing up, let it set up, and tomorrow, she'll be as good as new.
All right, Tim. We'll catch you later. WA1HLR, K1KBW.
All right, see you later, Bob. See you later, Steve, and anybody else who happens to be lurking on the frequency.
You still in there, Steve?
Hang on, I'm just in the middle of something.
All right.
I am not lurking. I'm smirking.
Yeah? And what are you smirking about?
I'm smirking because I'm smug.
Oh, okay. So now you're from Smug Bunny?
Maybe. I don't know. Tim asked if there was anybody lurking. And I was over on the other side of the room listening to the QSO doing some work, if you call that work. And I figured, well, I'm smirking, not lurking. So I figured I'd chime in. Hey, Bob, I got those pictures. They look really good. Of course, as I mentioned, I see the complete lack of a window to look at the plates and the filaments. But under the circumstances, it's okay.
Well, I was thinking about putting a window in there so I can look at the the drains, so you can watch the water draining.
It's water cooled?
No.
Alright, I just was wondering if it's water cooled. Absolutely no need for water cooling. You almost don't even need the friggin' heat sinks.
No, not at 95% efficient, you don't know.
Somebody just sent me a really funny joke.
That heatsink I got in the modulator is at least twice as big as it needs to be. But I use it as part of the case. It's the back of the case, so it happens to be 12 inches wide.
It won't burn up. Boy, somebody just sent me a really funny joke, but I don't know if I should tell it on the air, although it's perfectly fine.
GCR said good evening. Now, you just have to tell it.
All right, hang on. Man comes home from work and finds his wife sliding down the banister of the stairway in their house. And he goes up to her and he says, "Oh, dear, what are you doing?" And she says, "I'm warming up your dinner."
I do.
Bob gets it.
I don't get it. Nope. I don't get it at all. It's ridiculous. Sorry, I'm sucking on a peppermint candy, which I shouldn't do, but it was a gift. And I'm a sucker for peppermint candy. He's the right type. I apologize. It's terrible thing to do on the air. I can't stop. Bob, I was going to mention, I make cases the same way. I've done it for 30 years now, maybe more, with the angle iron.
Yeah, well, angle aluminum, but yeah. That's the best way to do it. I mean, it's sturdy. It's easy to do. You can do it two ways. You can drill the holes right through it and bolt it, or you can drill a smaller hole and tread it, so that when you screw the side piece or bottom or top or whatever to it, it threads into the angle. You can thread it. You can do it that way. That's to me that's okay if you got extra time, but it's kind of time consuming. It's better off just run a drill right straight through and put a bolt and a screw in there, a bolt and a nut.
Yeah, I get fancy because I made those. When I'm not doing it just one off, I make them for product, which I don't do anymore. I've got some left over. A little bit small for a Class E rig, but they're nice anyway. I got the panels powder coated in a kind of a satin black. And I use PEM inserts, threaded inserts into the angle aluminum, and of course I get the extrusion that doesn't have any curve on the inside. It's square. And then I knock them out on a jig so that all the holes are in the same place, of course, and I press the inserts in. Works great.
Yeah, well, this modulator is about as compact as I could make it. I mean, any more compact, and it wouldn't be able to get half the stuff in there. It's only 12 by 12. 12 inches by 12 inches and 6 inches high, so it's not very big.
A nice compact rig, except for that power supply. But what are you going to do? Steve, of course I got the joke.
The power supply just slides underneath the table. It's on wheels. That's why I made it that way.
Yeah, but if you can't get it to scoot around the room and clean the floor, what good is it?
Well, I could, because it used to be a heater, so I could change it into a vacuum cleaner too. So it'd be a Class E power supply and a vacuum cleaner.
Who was I talking to? Oh, it was Mark. QFX was on the air. Believe it or not, he was on the air. Amazing. With Tim and Ian White came on briefly. The propagation was terrible, but apparently he and one of his kids are making a Mars rover to independently navigate around his property with GPS fencing. Imagine that.
And 2 LJO.
Hey, what's up, George? K1 KBW.
Hello, George.
Hello, Bob, and hello, Bear. So it's my Elmer was actually on the radio?
I hate that term Elmer. Every time someone says Elmer, I think of Elmer Fudd. I prefer the term mentor. You know, it's not as juvenile.
Okay, so my mentor was actually on the radio?
QSO. He was on. Don't tell anybody, George. Don't tell anybody. But his audio was distorted just like it was the last time he was on.
Oh my. Oh my. Jeez. Did this happen today?
Yes, earlier today. Imagine that.
Wow. Sorry I missed it. Sorry I missed it. I talked to him on the phone. I never talked to him on the radio. I talked to him on the phone.
Well, he must like you a lot if he talks to you on the phone. That's good. He talks to me on the radio and on email. Not so much on the phone.
Well, we're friends for 1990, 33 years.
Well, I only met him in person 23 years ago or so.
Kathy's asking me what happened. That's Bear and Bob. Kathy heard me saying, when did this happen? And she's like, what happened? What happened? Mark, Seduto.
Really?
Yeah, got on the radio.
Oh, wow.
I know. Well, the other one. Unbelievable. Benvenuto don't get on too much either, but he gets on more than Mark Seduto.
Hey, George, W1QIX, making dinner and listening.
Hey, Steve.
I wouldn't listen to this stuff too much, Steve. It could really mess up your brain.
Well, I'm making my making dinner finally. Been busy today. Busy day today. And I'm playing pickleball in the morning, so I'm going to have some carbs. And then I don't know if I'm going to play the rest of the week. I can't play on Wednesday. I'm working. Yes, I have a client coming over here from North Dakota, bringing a transmitter that I designed for Tesla energy transmission experiments that they're running, and he's bringing this transmitter for me to check out. So this is going to be interesting.
Oh my. People with more money than sense. I like that.
Bear, I was looking for the third shift this morning. I actually got on the radio before 8 o'clock. That's the one thing left over from COVID. I've been having a hard time getting out of bed. Other than that, I'm fine. So I just caught Chris and CKO was signing. And I see the second shift is late reporting for duty, and then I was waiting for the third shift, but you never materialized.
Well, we ended up on 85 probably an hour and a half later, and ran into Tim and Mark, and Ian Y came in, and Dave ZOO, who's I forgot to open that PDF. Gosh! He's got a Thunderbolt that is somehow screwed up. I gotta look at the Sketch-O-Matic. I downloaded the Sketch-O-Matic and then I didn't open it. I was looking at all sorts of stuff today, doing all sorts of stuff. couldn't get out of my own way. Felt a little bit better. Saturday, I felt terrible. I think it's the Lyme. I hope it's a sign that my body is fighting it with the herbs I'm taking. I think it is. Sunday, I felt a little less, screwed up. And today, I kind of felt almost normal. And I'm feeling a little less, what's the word I'm looking for? Achy. A little less arthritic. Overall. So I hope it's the right trend, not just some sort of random attack upon my body. So that's why I haven't been on early. I've been trying to eke all the sleep I can get, because frankly, I'm drinking, for me, an insane amount of caffeine to keep going, which is concerning. It's like it's having no effect. But, it's a little bit difficult to conk out early. I suppose I could. But, I'm still up. And I watch some late night. What am I talking about? It's ridiculous. I didn't make it. Whether I'll get back on early or not, I don't know. I'll probably try, but it has to just work out that way.
I guess the good thing is at least you're drinking liquid if it's coffee, even though it has caffeine in it. I always drink a lot of fluid, drink a lot of water and juice, no soda, plain seltzer.
I don't drink any seltzer right now, no carbonated beverage, and the caffeine I drink is, unless it's green tea, which takes a little more effort to make, which I really prefer. I'm drinking very concentrated coffee and lots of other liquids. So, as I say, I'm peeing like a racehorse. Liquid is not my problem.
2-LJO. No, it gets the toxins out of your body, though.
Well, with hope. Well, with hope. All good. So that's what happened to me. You're going to have to find some new recruits.
I finally put that stylus on that Audio-Technica cartridge and put it on the head shell, back on the head shell, soldered a loose wire. I bought one of those cheap plastic protractors and lined up the cartridge properly on the head shell. And it plays very nicely.
So you're happy with it.
Well, that's the Techniques turntable downstairs. The one I'm going to get a new cartridge, probably for Christmas. That I'm going to put on the Pioneer upstairs, the PL530 turntable that I bought new in 1977. Geesh, can you imagine?
Oh yeah, I've got stuff that dates back before that.
Yeah, I got that plugged into a 9090 Sansui.
I still got the AR turntable that I bought from this discount place in the Bronx on like 172nd Street or something. 170 something street that was there, like around 1970. Yeah, pre-Crazy Eddie.
Yeah, that's right. 1970 would have been before he got started.
Briefly in the Bronx store. What a joke.
Ford Road or Grand Concourse had to be somewhere over there.
Fordham Road. Going down the hill right where Kingsbridge T-bones into it. Up the block from 3rd Avenue. A couple of blocks on the south side. I didn't know it, but those stores have incredibly huge sized basements under them. Those are big stores.
That was a big retail, there were no malls. Growing up in Brooklyn, we had Flatbush Avenue. On the weekends, Flatbush Avenue would be very busy with people walking, stopping in all the stores. And then they started opening up malls like the Kings Plaza Mall. And that little by little drained the business away from all those little individual businesses on Flatbush Avenue, and I'm sure, on Fordham Road and other shopping strips as well. Queens, Jamaica Avenue.
Across the street, there's a movie theater that I never knew even existed, because it wasn't running when I was a kid. It closed before that. But the friggin' building's still there. And I understand they took down the RKO Fordham, which I do not understand for a second. But that's why I don't live in the Bronx anymore. One of many reasons.
Yeah, I don't know about the RKO. I know the Loews Theater is still there. I'm not sure what's going on with it. I forget the name of that one. I don't think it was like Lowe's Concourse or anything. It had a different name, and it was one of the Wonder Theaters along with the Loews Kings, which we had in Brooklyn, which got a $90 million facelift about 10 years ago. I have to get down. I got to get down there and see it. It was always so beautiful, even as it was decaying. And then it sat empty for like 40 years, pretty close to 40 years. It sat empty. I always thought one day it was going to burn or something, but this redevelopment group got it. And now they have, they have musical acts there and other performances. And so it was the Kings. It was the one in the Bronx. There was one in Manhattan, the Jersey City Loews Theater, and there was one other one. I'm not sure where it was. Maybe Queens. I'm not sure. There were 5 of them. They called them the Wonder Theaters.
Well, they really were. If you see a picture of the Lowe's Paradise, it was stunning. It was bloody friggin' stunning. Huge. It was so large that DeWitt Clinton, where I went to high school in the Bronx, gentlemen, had a graduating class of, I don't know, something like over 1,000, maybe 1,500, maybe more. A lot of students went there. Double shift. All boys. Wonderful place. Looks like a prison. Worked like a prison. It was a prison. But that's besides the point. The graduation was held at the Lowe's Paradise because the auditorium in the high school couldn't handle it. It wasn't big enough. Yep. And that theater was equipped with incredibly large size bass horns. I remember being on the stage for something. I didn't go to the graduation when I was pretty darn young before it closed the screen up. And it had these, I don't know, they had to be 40, 45, 50 feet tall bass horns, vertical. Oh my.
What was the name? The Paradise, yes. Well, the Loews Kings was the same way. They used to have the Erasmus Hall would have their graduation there. That was where Barbara Streisand went, and she worked at the Loews Kings. Not that I care for her at all. Brooklyn College, I think, used to have their graduation there for a time, and the police department, many years, had their graduation at the Loews Kings. So I'm sure they're very similar. The architecture was just incredible. And they saved it. There was a partial cave-in on the roof that took down some of the ornamental plasterwork, and they were able to replicate it and patch it up, and you'd never know. But I have to get down there and see it. Last time I was in there was probably around 1975. Before it got padlocked in 76 or 77, and it sat until like 2005 or something like that before they started working on it. Maybe even 2008. I know it was pretty close to 40 years that it sat empty, closed up.
V2GCR. Well, George and I are going down memory lane here. I'm sure it's thrilling to you guys. But the Paradise was run by a guy named Creflo Dollar. He owned it. He was a preacher. He got indicted for something, some felony. So I took it away from him. I think it's still closed. It had stars on the ceiling. It was bloody incredible. You can see pictures. I was sure the Brooklyn one is similar. I think there's one like it in Philadelphia and one maybe in Atlanta. I'm not sure. What magnificent design. And the lobby. Holy crap. The lobby. I mean, you felt like you were walking into a Newport, Rhode Island millionaire's mansion. I mean, it was a mansion for the people, literally. You walked into that, you came out of your 6-story Bronx apartment house, which most people lived in, and you went to the Lowe's Paradise. Imagine what that was like, during World War II or just before and just after it. It's air conditioned, and it's this magnificent palace. Just unbelievably stunning. Everything was done in gold leaf. It was just like, whoa! Unbelievable. Yeah. So I don't, the Bronx right now, you could do salsa and you could do rap, or whatever's hip hop, whatever. I don't think it's going to support the arts the way Brooklyn does now. So the Bronx has got no chance, unfortunately. Great location, no chance. WB2GCR.
Yeah, 2LJO. Yeah, well, what you're saying makes sense. Well, I don't know about Philadelphia or Georgia or anything. I know the 5 of them were all up here. You definitely had the Kings, like you said, the Paradise, and the Jersey City, and I seem to remember there were 5 of them. There's one in Manhattan that I think the Sun Young Moon, the Moon Church, whatever you call them, they have it now. I think that might be the Lowe's Valencia, maybe? I don't know. And then there was one more. Maybe the other one was out in Queens. There were, from what I recall, there were 5 of them that they called the Wonder Theaters. And I remember them playing the organ at the one in Brooklyn. They actually had a guy there playing the organ. It was almost like a church. It was a pipe organ. But that somehow along the way got removed from from the Kings in Brooklyn. I don't know. I think it's still in the one in Jersey City. But yeah, it was like a palace when you walked in. Even when it was all grungy and dirty when I was a kid, and it was 5 years, 4 years, 3 years away from being shuttered, it was still magnificent. And the light fixtures hanging from the ceiling, they would not have just killed you. They would have drilled you down through the basement. They were like 6 feet tall, the light fixtures. They were incredible.
Oh, bigger than that, and they're all crystal. At least the ones at the Lowe's were. The one that was most incredible as a light fixture was the one that was in the... I wonder what they did with it. Holy crap. The one that was in the old Metropolitan Opera House in Manhattan. Used to scare me. That thing was massive. It had to be 20 feet in diameter. Massive. Tons hanging.
I looked it up. Okay, the Valencia was on Jamaica Avenue in Queens. Okay. So, yeah, no. The Kings had big light fixtures, but they were a different design.
So the Lowe's Valencia was the one in Queens on Jamaica Avenue, 165th Street. So you had the Valencia, the Paradise, the Kings, the Jersey City, and then the one in Manhattan that now belongs to the Moonies.
Well, more power to them. Yeah, at least it still exists. Yeah, all right. There you go, Bob. Rundown on great movie theaters in New York. Over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still working on the E-rig. Trying to wire my meters up now.
Okay. Oh, good. Yep. Well, it's a good topic, George, but only for us people from down that way. The place you want to see in Oregon is, if they still run it, is down at Atlantic City Convention Center.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I want to go. A couple of these things that I have in the fire, business-wise, come through. I'm going down to my old church down in Brooklyn, and with a check for like $1,000, I'm going to talk to the Monsignor and say, hey, let's get this church organ going. I was so mad about 15 years ago. I had a pink customer who he did restoration quality work on these old churches, and he knew the company that did the bells, and he knew the companies that worked on the organs, and I was involved with my old church, with the school, trying to keep the school open, and I talked the priest into letting this company, Paragallo Organ from New Jersey, come down and look at the church organ. And when I spoke to Paragallo, I said, please tell me when you're going. I want to be there. And the son of a bitch didn't tell me. And he went down and he fired the organ up. And I wanted to hear it so bad because I haven't heard it probably since 1968. Or maybe the early 70s before I graduated from the school. And it turned out half of the organ is not working for whatever reason. But I would love to see them get that organ going. There were churches not too far from my old church that got huge donations from these philanthropic groups of people to restore their organs. So that's something I would love to get involved in.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, a lot of dirt, a lot of man hours to redo one of those organs. I've seen, I know people who've been involved with doing that, and I've seen a number of video documentaries on places that have restored these organs, and it's a huge undertaking, unless it's in great shape, but usually all the leather's shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about how they work. But I'd love to see that organ getting going, especially when they're trying to draw people into the church. And that would be something that would probably draw some people in. You know, you have all these little storefront churches, you know, Seventh-day Adventist Church and Aluminum Siding Incorporated. I don't know. It's just something that I'd love to see, and they could play it at my funeral.
Well, I'm all with you on that. I like organs, you know. I can tell you how they work. There's a lot of leather. I'm telling you, there's leather because there's valves and things that move. There's actuators, right? The actuators are run by air usually. Now there's ways of modernizing them so they're run by wire, but that's a different thing.
Gotcha. There's also a very interesting organ at the Paramount, what was the Paramount Theater in Brooklyn, which became part of, is it Long Island University? Or Pratt Institute? Oh, I don't know. I'm not even sure what college it is down there. DeKalb Avenue in Flatbush. was the Paramount Theater, which was very famous, and basically got turned into a gymnasium for the college. I think it's at Long Island University, I'm not sure. But they still have the organ. They kept the organ that comes up out of the floor. And there's video on YouTube. If you put in Paramount Theater Brooklyn organ, you could see it. It's really cool.
Hold on a second, George. I got to take care of a USB connection issue here. Right back. WB2 GCR.
No problem. N2LJ. Bob, sorry if we put you to sleep.
No, you didn't put me to sleep. I'm wiring the meters up on the E-rig.
Are you building another one?
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Oh, wow, cool. What is that, like the fourth or fifth one you built?
Oh, I built probably 10 or 12 of them.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was an 80-meter rig.
Oh, this one's dual. This 80-160.
How many meters?
80-160.
Yeah, but you don't have enough space on the panel for 160 meters.
Yeah, I do.
That's cool. Dip low. Let me check my green. The green is good. Wow, great. Yeah, another scientific problem solved. We've got the USB all set. Oh, it's all happy. It's all happy. That's great. Oh. Yeah, those old organs are good. They're good. You need someone who can really play them because it's a whole art to playing it because you can't. It's like listening to an SDR all the time. I should say a web SDR.
Yeah, I suppose.
There's two propagation delays. There's a delay between the time you hit the note and that air gets transmitted up to the pipe or pipes, and then there's another delay in the time it takes the sound to get to you.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. Yeah, a little bit of latency.
How about a whole bunch of latency to the point where on a reasonably fast piece where you're playing eighth notes, it might be a whole note behind.
Interesting. Oh, it's a Wurlitzer, the Paramount. 426. I know it has something to do with ranks and pipes or something like that, the way they designate these.
I don't know the nomenclature. But the mighty Wurlitzer. That was some company, huh?
This is really cool. Wow. The Brooklyn, yeah, all you gotta do is put in Paramount Theater Brooklyn, Oregon. You'll get some clips on YouTube. Wow. I don't know how those guys play those things with all those pedals and all those levers and 3 or 4 levels of keyboards. You really gotta know your stuff.
There's some fantastic pipe organ players on YouTube. Mostly playing European organs. Just friggin' fantastic.
Yeah, we're gonna have to check some of that out. It's a great interest, but I remember how beautiful the church organ was when I was a kid and I'd go to church with my mother. And sometimes my father. And they would play the organ pretty much, they would always play it at midnight mass on Christmas, but there was one mass every Sunday they would play the organ.
I'm a big fan of the organ, the pipe organ, and the Hammond B3. Big fan of that. You know, love it, especially jazz organ. Love it. It's a whole art unto itself, and some of these guys, they play, you know, two hands plus the foot pedals. Unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's really cool how this thing pops up out of the floor it's now a gymnasium. Oh, it is Long Island University, yeah. It is LIU that took the old theater.
Maybe they can do it at halftime.
They probably do.
No idea. WB2GCR said no idea.
Well, my idea right now is to shut this stuff off and get horizontal. And if I can get out of bed the way I did before I had COVID and be on time for the second shift tomorrow, we'll see. It's just I wake up even if I sleep 9 or 10 hours, and it's just so comfortable to just hop back in for another 45 minutes. So I don't know. But 7-3 for now, Bear and Bob. 7-3 to you as well. And hope the E-Rig comes out nice. I'm sure it will. And we'll talk to you guys soon. N2LJO listening out.
At 7-3, George. K1KBW.
Strike looks really nice. Very nice. Beautiful homebrew job. Beautiful. Almost up to the SSJ level, Bob. Almost.
Well, I mean, I can do that, but I just don't care to go that far. That's it's like Richie. He built one. He's got I think he had like 100 and something screws in just one of the units, and the cabinet holding it together. He went screw crazy.
Too many screws looks good, but it's not terribly practical.
Yeah, well, it's enough work building these things without getting, you know, I'm anal enough. I don't have to get any more anal than I am.
You haven't really thought about it until you come up with a situation where you want all the screw heads facing the same way.
I used to do that, but I got over that. It's that has a lot to do with OCD too.
Some front panels where I wanted a particular look. I really have. But I've also, yeah, I have. I had to do all sorts of stuff to make that happen reliably. Yeah, that was good. I like precision machining. Yeah. I've got these bumpers on the back of my big Symphony No. 1 amp. They are, you know what elevator bolts are? Yeah. Elevator bolts are, well, I guess they were designed originally for elevators. They're a dead flat head that's very wide compared to the bolt shaft. A shaft that is not threaded except for on the ends. I guess it had a particular use on an elevator, but they're called elevator bolts because of their shape. So I found these bolts surplus made out of stainless. They had, I'm going to say, a 5/8 inch, maybe it was 3/4. Somewhere between 3/4 and 5/8, something like that, somewhere in there. 7/8, I don't know, somewhere in that range. Shaft about 2 1/4 inches long, and then neck down to maybe a ½ inch where it was threaded with a fine thread for about a little more than ½ an inch. And then a big fat head that's almost 3/8 inch thick and inch and an eighth wide diameter. And you know, they were nice, but they weren't fully finished, so I put them on the lathe and made the top that had a slot in it. A lot of elevator bolts are hex head, but these had a slot. A slot's like a 1/16 of an inch, I guess, for some sort of driver. And I took 4 of them, and they got polished because they're stainless. You know, they got a that finish you get on the metal inserts on knobs that has that circular pattern. And then the edges were highly polished, and the shaft was highly polished, and that was, I've used 4 of them for the bumpers on the back of the amplifier.
Oh, nice.
And that was just for the bumpers. You know, just for the bumpers. That I still have that. I still like it. I still have a couple of those left, you know. And that was some hard stainless. There's some stainless that when you go to cut it, it work hardens right away. Oh, that's tricky.
Yeah, sorry if I don't answer right away, but I'm stripping the insulation off of these wires because I got to put the connectors on them.
Damn. Anyway, anybody else coming on to play radio tonight? I'm sucking on my special peppermint candies, which were a gift. And I'm going to get up and put them away in a drawer. Because I don't put them away. Now, my right hand is going to keep grabbing. Oh, I'll just have one more. Just one more. They're so delicious. Just one more. Right.
Same with those hard ginger snap cookies that I get.
I like ginger snap cookies, but I couldn't really get good ones after a while. They used to have some that were pretty good. I think the ones I was getting last, you had to like drop them into, you know, dip them into a glass of milk or something to get them right. They're a little bit crispy, crunch. I wasn't so fond of them.
That ones are the ones ShopRite has them, and there's no preservatives, there's no nothing in them. They're made with molasses and all good stuff. They're really, 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 really good.
I suppose ShopRite wouldn't do it and pull out of here. They closed all their stores in this area. The entire region. Just closed them and left.
Really? How come?
They making enough money. I think they were doing okay. You know, they probably all took a hit during COVID. And they're taking a hit because Wally World is doing deliveries up the wazoo.
Yeah. Oh, well.
So everything is, you know, saves you a dang trip to the store, but it costs more. They don't always give you what you want. And I really relied on ShopRite for quite a few things, including some paper products like that they had. And, you know, and some other things. They had a nice big bottle of apple butter, which I like to get. And other stuff. But they're all gone, baby, gone. They just pulled out. They pulled the plug, sold the stores, out. Out. Now we're stuck with Price Chopper in Hannaford Hannaford around here anyway is just awful. Awful.
Oh,
Lack of competition. And of course there's Wally World, but that's like a joke. I think. Anyway. I'm going to get me a nice tall glass of cold filtered water from the upper deck. I need some liquid beverage, and it's going to be in the water. You keep wiring away, and after a bit I'll mosey back on down.
catch you in a few. K1 KBW.
That'll bring it. Oh, hell, you have to tell him, man. Well, your buddy down there is see what he can do. No, what? Damn. For a 922? Yes, good. Damn.
Well, this 922, hey, I've got to put your personally heads and all the mods you can do on one, but I don't want to sell it.
Yeah, I got a wall of repair for engineering and police mods. Probably paid, hell, 12 maybe, I don't know. Be at the same too. But you get at least $1,000. Yeah, you know, once they're working there, but once you get crazy on the main switch, they last a while. They're good looking in, but damn, you're right.
Well, most people that treat them right don't have that many problems with them. The only time you get a problem is, well, I guess that is they can wear out, but still, they are hard to get for.
Beautiful apple. Side handles, the best of the
I'll probably have mine on the airways tonight for the bull riders. I'll hook up to it for it just for that, just keep it going every once in a while.
I got it on a 9,000, man, that's a hell of a deal.
No, it ain't.
What do you mean?
It don't got a PET upgrade, it's garbage.
Oh, you told us we got it. What?
I wouldn't give you the $1,000 for a PCP upgrade on it. Go do your research. That thing won't, an Alinco will out-talk it if it doesn't have